Some coworkers reported strange phone calls filled with static and whispers, and others heard soft tapping at window 4 long after the branch had closed for the night. A cleaning lady quit after claiming to see a woman's face pressed against the vault door.
You are listening to the Fearcast. This is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a drill.
I used to work at Branch 18 of the Federal Savings Bank in Millfield, Massachusetts in the late 1980s. I was young, just starting out in my career, when I met Agnes Whitmore, a strange old woman who came in every single morning to my counter at window 4. She always carried large sums of cash, always deposits, never withdrawals. Agnes was polite but unsettling. She smelled faintly of lavender mixed with damp earth, and she always said the same thing when she finished a transaction. "Safe money stays close, my dear." Curious, I asked about her family, and she simply smiled and said, "I had a daughter once. She didn't stay long." Strange things began happening whenever she visited. Lights flickered, clocks stopped. A black cat always appeared outside the glass door, staring directly at her. My coworkers called her the Witch of Window 4, and we all laughed about it at first. As the months passed, Agnes's deposits grew even larger, sometimes tens of thousands in a single day. She never changed, never seemed to age, and never missed a visit. One day, she simply stopped coming. I tried to contact her, but the phone number she gave us was disconnected. The address she listed didn't exist, and her entire file seemed to vanish from the system overnight. The street she supposedly lived on wasn't even on a map. As I dug deeper, I found that her social security number was invalid, her identification was fake, and the ledgers where her transactions should have been recorded were mysteriously missing. Some coworkers reported strange phone calls filled with static and whispers, and others heard soft tapping at window 4 long after the branch had closed for the night. A cleaning lady quit after claiming to see a woman's face pressed against the vault door. I began having recurring dreams of Agnes standing inside the bank, counting piles of wet, rotting money, whispering, "This is my branch now." The bank closed, window 4, hoping the rumors would stop, but the strange incidents continued. Late one stormy night, just before closing, I saw her again. She stood there in her long black coat, her silver braid dripping wet, her pale hands folded on the counter silent, watching me. I blinked and she was gone. I contacted the police, but every trace of her had disappeared. Even the security tapes were blank. The bank quietly shut down our entire branch the following year without explanation. The building was eventually demolished, leaving only a hollow memory of what had happened. I left town, but curiosity brought me back years later. The site of the old bank is now a cemetery. Walking among the headstones, I found one near where window 4 used to be. It read, Agnes Whitmore, 1903 to 1925. She'd been dead more than 60 years before I ever met her, and resting on her grave was a fresh black rose. The dreams didn't stop. After I visited the cemetery, they became worse. I would see Agnes in impossible places, inside crowded diners, on rainy street corners, always from a distance, always watching me. I started receiving strange letters with no return address, written in a tight, spidery script. They simply read, Safe money stays close. One morning, I found a small leather pouch filled with damp, decaying coins sitting on the porch of my apartment. I swear I locked the door that night. The pouch smelled of lavender and wet soil. I threw it away, but another one appeared the next day. It felt like something was slowly crawling its way back into my life. Jenna's best friend, Rachel, refused to accept her disappearance. She returned to the graveyard, retracing Jenna's path. The same mist coiled around the iron gates, the same low hum vibrating beneath the ground. Rachel's phone buzzed in her pocket, a notification from Jenna's porch camera. Motion detected. When Rachel opened the feed, she saw herself standing at the graveyard entrance, even though she hadn't touched her phone to record. The video showed her looking terrified, as if she were staring at something the camera couldn't see. Her real-time breath caught in her throat as the video version of herself turned and ran, vanishing into the cemetery's thick fog. Rachel spun around. The fog had deepened, the gravestones pressing closer. A voice drifted on the air, a whisper she'd heard too many times on Jenna's voicemail recordings. You shouldn't have come. The figure of the man appeared before her, his face now visible. A pale, waterlogged visage, his mouth hanging open as water poured endlessly from it, flooding the cracked earth beneath him. Rachel stumbled backward, but the ground gave way, dragging her into the freezing, muddy water pooling at her feet. She clawed at the edges, but unseen hands pulled her deeper. Her phone buzzed one last time, slipping from her grip as it floated atop the water. Another motion alert. Porch camera, motion detected. In the grainy image, two wet figures now sat calmly in Jenna's living room, waiting for someone else to take the shortcut. The screen glitched, then went dark, and the whisper continued. You shouldn't have come. I began seeing Agnes more frequently. She appeared in shop windows as I passed by, her silver braid glinting under the streetlights. At night, I would hear the soft tapping at my apartment window, always in threes. Damp footprints would trail from the window to my kitchen table, where a fresh black rose would be waiting for me. I started receiving phone calls that began with static, then slowly shifted to the sound of her humming an old lullaby. I changed my number, moved to a new apartment, but the calls followed. One night I woke to find my bathroom mirror fogged over, though no one had used it. Scrawled across the glass in a shaky hand were the words, safe money stays close. My own reflection lagged behind, its lips mouthing those same words seconds after I stopped speaking. I smashed the mirror and fled Millfield that night, driving without stopping until I crossed into another state. I thought distance would save me. It didn't. For a few months, I believed I'd escaped, but the tapping returned. The black roses returned. In a motel far from Millfield, I found a leather coin pouch resting on my pillow. The pouch was damp, its contents rotting, smelling of lavender and soil. I called the motel office, but they swore no one had been in my room. I changed my name, burned every piece of identification, but Agnes still found me. I contacted a local historian and shared everything I knew. He listened carefully, then went silent. Finally, he told me that I was not the first to reach out to him. Others had experienced similar hauntings. They all worked at banks that had handled Agnes's money. Some had disappeared. Others were found in their homes, surrounded by piles of decayed coins and dead flowers. He warned me, "The curse is not about the place, it's about the account. You carried the ledger, you carried the balance." Agnes had marked me when I touched her deposits. I tried everything. I went to a church, begged a priest to help me. He blessed my home, but later that night, he called me in terror. He had received a letter on his church altar. It read, "Safe money stays close." The next day, he vanished. One morning, I walked into a diner and saw a woman in a long black coat sitting in the corner, her silver braid coiled over her shoulder. I left before she could look up, but when I returned to my car, a small black rose was resting on the driver's seat. I kept moving, never staying in one town for more than a few weeks. But no matter how far I ran, Agnes's tapping always found me. Years later, I returned to Millfield one last time. The old bank was long gone. In its place stood a cemetery. I found her grave near where window 4 used to be. The headstone read, Agnes Whitmore, 1903 to 1925. A fresh black rose rested against it. As I stood there, the air grew cold, and I heard her voice behind me whisper, "There are still balances to settle." I didn't turn around. Some branches never really close. Some accounts are never settled. And some customers, no matter how long it's been, never stop returning.